Hi and welcome to Optimum TV's Dealmakers series, where we talk to the movers and shakers in the life science investment world. I'm Stephen Adams, and today I'm joined by Christina Takke, co-founder and managing partner of VBio, a Belgium-based VC, which helps build exceptional companies. Hi, Christina.
Hi, Stephen. Thank you. Thank you for having me on the show. It's a pleasure to be here.
Not at all. Let's kick off. Tell me a little bit about your background and what led you to set up VBio, and I think you set it up 10 years ago.
Yes. Well, my background is really based in science. When I started my career, I thought I'd become a scientist. So I would have started in science, did my PhD, worked on the model system to explore how cells communicate. And during that work, I realized basic science is interesting, but something needs to come out of it. So in that, after my PhD, I got the opportunity to join ABN AMRO Bank in Amsterdam, the private equity department, where then I learned the investment part of my job. So I grew with that group, which then transitioned into Forward Capital Partners. So my last position there was partner with Forward Capital Partners. And at that time, Forbion grew enormously in terms of capital under management, but also on team size. And that leads to a little change in deployment of that capital, because if you have big money to invest, you need to go later stage, you need to go into larger investments. And my heart is still with the early stage science, really that translation from academic science into something meaningful. So when I got the chance to set up a new fund, it was really something I needed to try. Because also during Forbion, we encourage entrepreneurs or scientists to be entrepreneurial. And this was really one of these entrepreneurial challenges I got and I needed to take up in 2015, when together with my co-founder, Willem, we set VBio Ventures.
It sounds like a very exciting thing to do. So tell me more about VBio. There are obviously lots of VCs out there, lots of life science focused VCs. What's VBio's particular niche, if I can put it like that, and how does it differ from others?
Yeah, at VBio, I think that the difference is really that we see ourselves more as entrepreneurs supporting the innovators to set up these companies. So that's a mindset. It's something when we work with these companies, we become, well, I would always say DNA of that new venture. So we sit with these scientists and we try to make that business plan, because the innovators, when they come to us, the plan is not ready yet. It's not ready for prime time. It's not ready for the big investors to jump in. So that's, I think, part of it that makes it different. Also, when we set up the company, it was very clear in our mind that this is what we want to do. So we needed a very diverse team. When Willem and I joined forces, he really came from the academic science, has created company out of academic science. I came more from the investment world, ABN AMRO and Forbion. So that was a very diverse starting point. But then the next hires were people with hands-on experience in the biotech scene, but also technology transfer, knowing how to get science out of universities into ventures. That's very important. So that's how we build the team. It's entrepreneurial, but it's also very diverse from background and experiences.
You've got to have that range of skills, haven't you?
Yeah, I think that's very important. We are not one just wiring the money and waiting until management does it. We need to create these teams. We need to create management team. So that's, I think, a difference. Maybe the other difference is also the willingness to accept different risks. So we are very willing to take biology risks. So the things we invest in, it's new biology, they're new targets, something that still needs to be developed. And maybe that's also a little difference from other funds, sort of the openness and willingness to take that risk and follow the journey of these companies along the way.
Okay. Thinking about VBio and who invests in you, what's your investor base?
Yeah, our investor base, it's a quite diverse investor base. The major part comes from public funding bodies like the European Investment Fund, supported by the European Union through Horizon 20. That's a larger part of it's one of our cornerstone investors. Next to that public funding, we have federal and we have regional investors. This is not all. We also have some family offices. We also have some banks in the background. So we try to really have a diverse investor base, but all understanding what we do, because being in venture is a little different than being in private equity.
Let's talk about geography. VBio is based in Belgium. Do you only invest in Belgium-based companies, or do you invest more broadly than that?
Yeah, that's true. VBio, as an organization, we are based in Belgium, and we have a very close working relationship with the VIB. Maybe I should have mentioned that earlier on. That's something which also differs us from others. So VIB is a large research organization in Belgium, cooperating with different universities and really choosing PIs from these universities with the thought of valorization of that science. We have a right of first refusal of everything that comes out of it and comes into a new venture. So everything we do on company creation and co-creation, that's close to home, that will be Belgium. But it was also very important for us to be active on a European level. So when you look at our portfolio, we have quite some companies in France, in the Netherlands, in Italy, and in Denmark. So we invest all across Europe, which is important to us to benchmark and triage that science that come from our preferred relationship with what's going out there. And also to co-invest with our international colleagues out there to make sure we build the syndicates that are strong enough to support the companies forward. So yes, company creation close to home in Belgium, but for the rest we'll look all across Europe.
Okay. Are there any companies from your portfolio that you'd like to mention?
Yeah, I think maybe on the geographic part, I think it's interesting. See, we also have a little allocation outside of Europe. Okay. So one of the companies, for example, where we try to really help them forward, it's Orionis Bioscience, a company from our first fund. All the research comes from the University of Ghent, from Professor Jan Tavernier's lab. There the company started, but very quickly when management team came on board, the headquarters shifted to Boston, where there's the commercial team, the development team. So this is also, although we are a small fund and we focus on co-creating companies close to home, we can enable and help these companies to grow wherever it's important for them to grow. I think that's just a nice example where, well, we can be flexible.
Okay.
And yeah, please go.
And let's talk about the market a little bit. People have been saying this is a tough time for very early stage life science companies that need to raise funds. Is that your experience or not?
Well, I think these are challenging times for raising funds all across the globe. When we look at what is investing, investing is expressing trust in somebody else to do something valuable with your capital. And the moment there's uncertainty in the market, uncertainty on regulation, uncertainty on future revenues, I think everybody gets nervous. So the general market is very cautious at the moment. When we look at our companies, well, the ones we start up, the early stages, they are quite far away from these turbulences that are out there in public markets. So there people tend to focus on what are the fundamentals, what is the science, what is the patent position, how long does it take to develop it. So we are a little bit more shielded from these very volatile market out there. Well, having said that, we also see companies that grow, and if you're really into the crossover rounds where people eyeing the public market, then you're much more affected on what's going on there. What we also see is really on companies that have raised, let's say in 22, large sums of money at valuation that were maybe a bit on the high side. These companies, they are in trouble at the moment because if investors are more hesitant to invest, these companies might face down rounds, internally led rounds. That's what we see out there, but that's the ones that probably in the B rounds range where they've raised in the past. We were quite lucky with our portfolio. When you look back, our portfolio that are now in clinical development, they were able to raise in 23, 24, so they are financed through the next value inflection point. So on that side, we're happy. The young companies, they still now need to, well, show that their science can translate. And then, well, we have been in these downturns for many years. I'm in the business since, I don't know, 25 years, shouldn't say that in public. But we've seen many ups and downs, and we know things will rearrange themselves. It will be a new normal. It will be different, but the fundamentals are still there. We still need the young companies to build new product candidates. We see the pharma industry facing loss of exclusivity. So the fundamentals haven't changed. Well, the new normal will be there. We'll see how we deal with it.
Super. Christina Takke of VBio, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.